Hello everybody, welcome to my second chess video on the channel. I'm so glad to be with you guys today. And in my last video, it went well, okay? I played a 1700 rated player. I lost. I did pretty good though. But most people were telling me, Kayvon, I like the video. I don't know how to play chess. I don't understand it. I don't know how the pieces work. I don't know how the moves work. What the heck are you supposed to do if you start playing chess and you have no clue what's going on the board? And so I was like, you know what? I need to make a video on how to play the game of chess. And by the way, there's tons of videos out there on how to play the game, but I'm going to do it my own style. I'm going to do it my own way. This isn't scripted, okay? This is an actual video from my mouth about how to play the game of chess. And there's no sheets in front of me. I'm just going to do it straight on. So let's go. So let's start out with the board, okay? There's 64 squares, and 32 of them are occupied by pieces. You're going to have 16 pawns, 4 rooks, 4 knights, 4 bishops, 2 queens, and 2 kings. The goal of the game is to checkmate the king. Duh, right? But there are certain ways you have to do that. So let's just explain the basics, okay? A pawn. You have 8 of them. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. First move a pawn can make, it can go up 2. So it can go like that. Pretty simple. After that, though, let's say my opponent goes here. My pawn can only move up 1, so it can only go like this. It can't just go like, here, here, and then just jump 2 pieces, right? I mean, I wish it could, but it can't. So sadly, it cannot do that. It can only go up 1. So, that's just how it works in chess. It's pretty sweet, though. Now I'm just drawing a bunch of arrows. I just learned how to use the arrows, and I love them. They're so cool. You can just go like this or this. So it's pretty sweet. I didn't know how to do that in my last video, but I'm going to use that feature a lot. Don't worry. So, anyways, let's say my opponent goes, yeah, here, I can't jump him. Now, here's the thing. If my opponent, let's say I go here. Let's say he goes here now. I can take diagonally. Any pawn you can take diagonally, okay? So let's say he goes here. I can take that because it's diagonal, right? So pretty simple stuff, nothing hard to remember. Pawns are pretty simple. The only thing that's really weird about pawns is en passant. It's a special move. It's very complex and it never happens, but if you want to look it up, you can. It's called en passant. It's really interesting. But other than that, pawns are pretty simple. First move, you move up 2. And then, you can take in any direction, by the way. You can take left, you can take right. As long as it's diagonal, you can take it. Now the next piece I want to talk about is the knight. A knight can move in an L, right? An L. By the way, L is such a great letter. Of all the letters, I actually like the letter L. I don't know why. I think it's pretty cool. But, you have your knight. Can move in any L. So here, let's say it goes here, right? My knight can move anywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possible L's it can make. It can go here, 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 back, it can go anywhere. And my other knight can make an L, and then this knight can make an L, and then this knight can make another L. And so basically, as long as it's an L, it can move anywhere. And some people are like, well, Kayvon, can it move in any L? Yes, it can. It can literally move in any L. Any L. That means it can move like this, it can move anywhere, as long as it's an L. It's pretty simple to remember. So, as long as it's an L, right, you can go like that, you can go like that, you can go like that. See, I love using these arrows now. I'm using them so much. These are sweet arrows that you can use on this website. So anyways, yeah, that's the knight. Next piece, bishop. I'm going pretty quick here. So far, pretty simple. Bishops are also pretty easy to remember. They can move anywhere diagonally on the board, right? So, for example, if I want to get my bishop out in the game, you have 2 of them. Let's say I take this one out. Okay, I move my bishop to c4. My opponent can respond by going c5. And then I can go here. And my opponent copies me, because some players will copy. And I go here. See, I have 2 bishops on the board, but these 2 bishops will never, ever contradict each other because they are always going to be on separate shades of the board. One will always control the white squares, one will always control the dark squares. Pretty simple, they move anywhere. Horizontally, they can move backwards and in any direction. So let's say bishop wants to go back, it can go back and I can take. So bishops are pretty easy. See, it's pretty simple stuff, right? Pawns, bishops, and knights. And rooks get even easier. Rooks just move anywhere vertically. So you want to move a rook. And by the way, most people don't get their rooks out until endgames, right? Because that's when games get more complex and it's really hard to get a rook out unless you go like here and then somehow you get a rook out like that. But you know, you shouldn't do it in hindsight because it can lead to problems down the way. So most players won't make that move. But sometimes people will. And it can get interesting. But really what you want to remember about your rook is it can just move anywhere vertically. So it can go anywhere this way, it can go anywhere back. Just like a bishop, except it's vertical, not diagonal. Pretty simple stuff, right? So it can also move horizontally on the board as well. So that's pretty cool about the rook. And then we got the queen. Queen is the most powerful piece on the board. And most people, when they play chess, they always want to get their queen out first. It's like, how can I get my queen out? And to be honest, it's not a bad idea. It can lead to problems down the road, though, once you play more advanced players. But it's not a bad idea to get your queen out. A queen can move anywhere vertically or horizontally. So right now, my queen can move in almost half the board. It's pretty nuts. So you have to use your most powerful piece effective. But the queen can move backwards, it can move forwards, it can move left or right. And it can move anywhere diagonally, vertically, or horizontally. So basically, it's impossible to stop. Now, some players will trade their queens, and it leads to a different game and tactics involved. But queens get pretty interesting, and that's what makes chess fun. You have to be smart about the moves you make. And so, yeah, that's how you move the queen. Pretty simple stuff. The only other piece that is in chess is the king, and that is the reason why you play chess is to checkmate your opponent's king and protect yours. A king is pretty simple. It can move in one direction anywhere on the board. So just right now, my king, let's say it goes here, my king can move, well now it can only move in one spot because all these pieces are occupied. But my king can move back, it can move to the left, it can move anywhere one. As long as it's around it and it's a safe space to move, it can do it. Now, you probably shouldn't get your king out early in the game. It's not the smartest idea because it leads to problems down the road, especially if you're playing someone good, because you want to develop your pieces, and the whole point of the game is to protect your king, not put it in the center of the board, so you're just asking yourself for checkmate, right? But, you know, if you want to have some fun in chess, one time Magnus Carlsen played a game, and he took his king out into the center and still won. So, you know what? If you're Magnus Carlsen or someone who's just likes to experiment new things, why not? Put your king out in the center of the board and see what happens. Now, if you do that, don't tell anybody I said to because I didn't. I'm just saying if you want, you can. It's not a bad idea if you do it smart, right? Maybe. I don't know. Probably shouldn't move your king in the center, but again, you know, it's chess. You can do whatever you want. You know, there's millions of possible combinations in the game, and especially when you're new. Just try out new pieces, see how they work, and see what happens. So yeah, that's really how you move each of the pieces. The only other thing I can think about is castling. So let's say I'm just going to try to make the quickest castle possible you can make in a game. So if I go here, my opponent goes here. So this is like a regular game, right? So all the moves are pretty regular. And now I can castle. And people ask me this all the time. Kayvon, what is castling? I've never heard of this. And I'm like, well, yeah, it is kind of weird. And when I started first playing chess, I didn't know what the heck castling was either. I thought it was one of the dumbest moves you can make in the game, but it's actually smart. The goal of castling is to protect your king. That's why it's such an important move to make. Because if you don't castle, and if you watch my first video, you could see I never had a chance to castle. Or maybe I did and I just didn't, because I wasn't thinking straight. And it can lead to problems down the road because your king gets exposed. So whenever you have the chance, try to get your king safe. And you can also castle the opposite way. So let's say we keep playing a game, right? Regular moves. Everything goes normal. And now I have the chance to castle queenside. So now I can castle the other direction. You can castle either direction you want. So it's pretty sweet. So that's how you move all the pieces. It's pretty simple. So with that being said, I'm going to play Martin. Martin, yes, he's the worst bot on chess.com. But I am not going to play it as a 1500 player. I am going to play Martin as a 100 rated player on chess.com. And people ask me, Kayvon, why would you do that? Why are you going to play a rated 250 rated player who is a bot on chess.com? And the goal of that is so people that never played chess can actually learn chess. You know, in my first video, I played a 1700 rated player, and, you know, I was saying he's top 1% in the world. That means 99% of people don't even know what the heck he's doing. And even the game reviews still. You know, I was just, it's not going to help people. No, and the whole point of this is to learn the game of chess. And so that is why, and spread chess. Make it, you know, fun. Because chess is a fun game once you get to learn it. So I'm going to play Martin. He is the worst bot on chess.com. He is rated 250. 250. Even in his bio, he said, my 4-year-old son just beat me. Ouch. Whatever that's supposed to mean. I have played 7-year-olds at chess tournaments and have lost to him, and I feel so bad afterwards. So, losing to a 4-year-old doesn't sound as bad as it, you know, is, because there are some 4-year-old grandmasters who just memorize the game of chess, and it's crazy. But what makes chess fun is you actually can't memorize it. Even the best players in the world still lose. It's pretty nuts. So anyways, I'm playing Martin. I'm rated 100. And I don't know what I'm doing. And so I'm going to play what most beginners play. And h4. And it's not a great move because it's the whole point in chess is to attack the center. But again, I'm a beginner. Martin! Wow, he attacked the center. Good for this guy. Martin is rated 250. He's from Bulgaria. I've actually heard of Bulgaria. I don't know what continent it's in, but I've heard of it somewhere. So he moves to e5. And so I'm going to make a pawn wall. I remember about 3 or 4 years ago when I first started playing chess, I had no idea what I was doing. I would go on Cool Math games, and I would play these very weird moves. But one time I decided, you know what, I'm just going to make a pawn wall. And so I made a pawn wall, and about 50% of the time it worked, and 50% of the time it didn't. But most of the players on Cool Math weren't that good, so that's probably why. But I would just keep making pawn walls, and I'll never forget the time that my opponent copied me and also made a pawn wall, and it was the weirdest chess game you could ever play. It made no sense. It was two people who had no idea what they were doing, and it was a mess. But I'll never forget that game, and I still remember it as the pawn wall game. Sadly, it's not saved on chess.com. It was played on Cool Math, but it's interesting how chess works in that way. So I'm going to make my pawn wall because I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to make a pawn wall. That means all my pawns are going to make a wall. And the reason I did that before was because I thought it was smart. It really isn't. But it kind of looks cool. I know people who, when they play chess, they try to make the pieces look a certain way. It's really interesting. I don't know what it's called. It's like graphic chess or something. They will make their pieces try to go on certain squares so they look like an image. It's really interesting stuff. But I heard of it. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's pretty cool. So we're going to have to continue our pawn wall, but we can't. What are we going to do? Let's move the knight. I'm thinking from someone rated 100 new to chess. Maybe I would develop this. Let's just move this here. Oh my goodness, Martin could have just taken the pawn with his pawn or his queen. But he didn't. He moved his pawn to a5. Martin made a mistake. Too bad I am rated 100, so I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to move here. Looks like a good move. I developed the knight. And then Martin takes the pawn. Wow. Good for Martin finding that move. Usually when I play Martin, he makes awful moves. And I don't know if anybody knows Got Him Chess, but he actually made a video of himself playing Martin. And he gave Martin like 50 queens and he still found a way to beat him. I think. He might have lost, I don't remember. But it was a very interesting game. But, yeah, Martin is not good at chess. That's basically what it means. But he's playing really good right now. So my only move is to move here, up. So Martin is getting to me. Oh my goodness. I can take the queen. Martin is giving me the queen, but I'm rated 100. This is my first chess game. Am I supposed to take the queen? I don't know. I'm just going to move back, maybe? It seems like a good move. Let's just move back. And then he takes my queen. Okay. I'm not that crazy. I know chess good enough. I'm going to take the queen back. Okay, so Martin moves his knight. Good move by Martin. There goes my best piece. Yeah, well, I also lost my best piece, Martin. So we're in the same boat. So I'm going to move my bishop to d3. And the reason I did that was because it looked cool. And if your pieces look cool on the chessboard, you probably should do it when you start. Because why not? Just get a hang of the pieces. It took me about 20 or 30 games to actually understand what I was doing. But once you do, it's really fun. So Martin gave up a rook and a pawn. I can just fork him here and then take his rook. But I'm not going to do that. See, because then his king's in check and then I take it. I'm not going to do that because, again, I'm not going to be mean to Martin. He's a great guy from Bulgaria. He seems cool. And again, he gave up a fork. It's like he's trying to let me win with this knight. Just take and then take. But again, I'm struggling today at chess, and that happens too. I'll play 10 chess games and I'll lose 8. And then I'll play another 10 chess games and I'll lose only 2 or 3. It's just how it works. It's really weird. It's like anything. It's really a game of momentum. You can't get crazy. So I'm going to take the pawn. I've got excited. I feel confident now. Well, don't feel too confident in chess. It's another lesson to learn. Just don't feel too confident. Even if you're playing someone like Martin, you probably shouldn't feel too confident. Anything can happen. Let's just take the pawn, or the knight. And now I am losing by 3. I'm losing to 3 against Martin. I could be winning if I made this move, but I don't see it. I see a pawn I can take, or I can take this. Wait, his knight can take back. His knight can, oh my gosh. Oh man. And by the way, that is kind of scripted, right? That was kind of bad faking, but again, if you make a blunder in chess, then it's not a big deal. It's going to happen all the time. Just kind of move on. It's just a game. I still that's the thing about chess. There's so many combinations, you can't worry about one small move. It's not the end of the world. Trust me, it isn't. Okay, Martin is getting on me, but I finally saw the move here. Let's go. Okay, Martin is starting to play well. Okay, I found the move here. Oh no, I should have taken it with the other pawn. Oh my gosh, I can take his rook. Okay, I kind of have to, right? It's hero. If I take the pawn diagonally, I can't pretend that I can't take it. Okay. Okay, now I could move my pawn here and then advance it, but I want to protect this. I can move here. That's a really good move. If I move my bishop here, that's really hard to counter. I guess then his king moves here, but then my knight can move here, and that forks the king and bishop, and then my knight can take the bishop from here, and then his pawn would take, and then I would take the pawn, and I would be actually winning. Which somehow I'm winning now. But I'm rated 100, guys, so let's just go here. Blundered the rook. But did I? Let's see. Martin is playing great. Okay, he gave me the rook. I didn't want to do this, but I'm going to have to take the rook. It's the only possible move. So let's just take the rook. Okay, he wants me to take... Okay, I'm going to take the bishop. I'm not that bad at chess. I'm good enough at chess. I can see the board. I understand it. Okay, he's giving me a queen. But I don't really understand how this works, so let's just press one of them. I like the knight. The knight's cool. Let's press the knight. So, I could have taken the queen instead. I take the knight. Which, 99% of the time, though, when you get to the end of the board, you want to take a queen. because the queen's the best piece. Now, there are very rare occasions you should take a different piece, but those are very rare, and you shouldn't really worry about that unless it's, you know, something that happens and the only possible checkmate is a knight. And there are videos on that where people have found moves where they advance to the end of the board, they get a knight and it's checkmate. But again, it's really rare. Shouldn't usually do it. So now what should I do? Maybe just move my king here. I don't know. It looks cool. He's gonna move. Oh, let's just go here. Oh no, he checked me. I have to move back. I could have actually just taken the pawn. Okay, he took. Let's just take, right? It's fair. I'm up by 6, so no, I'm up by 6 or 7 right now. So no, we're doing well. Okay, let's check him here. Okay, let's go up here to d5 in the middle of the board. I can take the pawn. I can take either of the pawns, but I'm just gonna go f5 with the bishop. Why not? Okay, let's just take. Some players will do that. They're just going to take every single piece possible. And see what happens. Oh my goodness, I moved too fast. Another mistake in chess. Don't move too fast. Trust me. Especially when you're playing Martin or any bot. Just don't move fast. Especially when you're trying to learn the game too. Okay, so this is a pawn versus king endgame. And here's something really cool. I do not even have to move my king. I'm going to put my king in the very corner of the board, and I'm going to show you how to win this. My king is going to go up to the very corner of the board. Actually, just because I want to be fun, how about my king has to touch every single outside square on the board before I can move a pawn? That makes this very interesting. And if he doesn't, then I lose. And I'll resign. Come on, we're getting there. Okay, to move back. To move back again. He's forcing us. Okay, let's go. Come on. Will Martin have time to win? This is so stupid. But it does show you have to move the king in one direction. Or one square at a time. It can go in any direction, my bad. This has to be one square at a time. Martin took his first pawn. This is going to be very close. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Shoot. This is bad. I still have to go all the way back to h1. I don't know. This is tough. I move 67 right now. Okay. I do not know. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is crazy. No, I have to move back. Shoot. This is not good. He's going to take the pawn. No, he didn't take the pawn. Oh, he took it. Shoot. We have to get to h1 before I can move. Oh my gosh. There's no way. Oh my gosh, I could. This is possible. If we get to h1, I might have a chance. Oh wait, didn't I touch h1 earlier in the game? Did I already touch? Wait, one sec. I want to see if I touched g1 earlier. I touched h1. I touched g1! I touched g1 earlier in the game! That means I touched every outside piece in the game and I still have a pawn left. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. There's no way! There is no way! I touched every outside piece with my king. And I still can beat Martin. That is crazy. And just because I don't want to torture myself, I'm not going to look at the game review. Oh my goodness. Wow. That was crazy. Wow. Okay, I mean, this is something else. I I don't even know how to explain to you what just happened in this chess game. Let's make it a rook. I actually don't know the move limit though. There might be a move limit of like 140 moves or something. So I might have to be careful about that. But I'm going to beat Martin. And I could stalemate him just to be funny, but I'm not, because I worked too hard to do that. That is crazy. That is crazy. Think carefully, you might have checkmate soon. Yeah, well, I wouldn't have a checkmate if you just taken my pawn on the 100 chances you have. And I beat Martin. Oh my goodness. Okay. 51 excellent moves. Wow. There has never been a chess game in the history of the world like this one. There are millions of combinations in chess, but I bet you there's never been a game where a king has touched every single outside piece of the board and still won the game. Oh my goodness. I made my pawn wall, and then I somehow found a way to win without taking his queen because it was really hard. It was really hard not to fork him with the king and rook, which I explained. And then when we got into the endgame, because I tried a little bit harder, not too hard, but I tried a little bit. And when it came to the point where I blundered my knight and he didn't take it, and then eventually he did, I made a rule I have to touch every outside piece of the board to win. So I start with F1, G1, H1, and I go around the whole entire board. This is crazy. And I end up with Martin going around the entire board and then defending the pawn, making it a rook, and then ending up checkmating him on move 100. Exactly move 100. What are the chances? I didn't even realize that. What a game. What a great second episode. Now I can say I beat Martin in chess and touched every outside piece of the board. It doesn't get better than that. Man, that was crazy. Well, I hope you took something away from this video on how to play chess, how the pieces work, how you can beat Martin if you want to try him on chess.com. Hopefully you win. If not, that's okay. Especially if you're learning. I lost to Martin before. I wouldn't admit it. I almost tied him this time. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And again, thanks for checking this out, and I hope you have a good one. See ya.